You are listening to the Pursuit of Manliness podcast, where we are vigorously equipping men to pursue biblical manliness. For more information or to secure your spot in our next session of Tribe, make sure you visit thepursuitofmanliness.com. All right, so before I started recording, I thought, I'm a little hungry, and this microphone will pick up anytime my stomach growls. So I thought, I'm going to go eat something. I go out to the kitchen, and there are 3 or 4, loaves of banana bread. Now, I know last night there was like 6. So we're halfway through the banana bread, and I haven't had any. So I thought, I'm going to eat some banana bread. I just ate a whole loaf, so don't judge me. It was bad timing to eat a whole loaf of banana bread before I start recording. But here we are. And we are talking about Tribe. And Tribe is our 6-month discipleship community within the Pursuit of Manliness. I say within because the Pursuit of Manliness was a blog. There were regular Facebook posts, Instagram posts, tweets, etc., just having conversations about being a man of God. Within that, the realization came that we want to grow men. I felt a conviction, Matthew chapter 28, 19 to 20, go therefore into all the world. He's sending you out into all the world, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I'm with you always to the end of age. I said, well, how do we get into all the world? If you know me, you know I'm not a world traveler. I don't go too many places. And I thought, well, then what are we going to do? So Tribe has become a way that God has allowed the pursuit of manliness, but more important, the gospel, to get to these places. And we've been able to baptize a few guys, which is pretty cool. We did that last year at the men's retreat. We've had stories of things, restoration happening within families and marriages and workplaces and things of that nature. And so what we're trying to do within Tribe is live out the Great Commission, challenging one another to be better equipped men of God, husbands, fathers. We got single guys, we got divorced guys, we got everything in between. So what I'm going to do my best to do on this podcast is kind of really give you an image of what it is. And I'm going to do some things. I'm going to answer in a way, a roundabout way, questions that I get about Tribe all the time. Now, I know I can make this podcast, I can make a post. There'll still be a guy that says like, hey, what about, and you're like, it was just there. So I'm going to do my best to try to explain it so you could say, okay, that helps me. That helps me get an idea of what this thing's about. First and foremost, let me say this. Tribe does not replace your church or ministry. Men who've been in Tribe, one session or more know that typically one of the first things out of my mouth when we start to kick off the session is, this is not your church and I'm not your pastor. I want you to be connected to a church. I want you to be connected to a ministry. I want you to be involved in your, community of believers. We're not a denomination. We don't make you read from a specific translation of the Bible. We probably have 3, 4, 5 different translations represented. I don't even know the denominations. That's not part of the registration process. What we do is we get in Scripture every day, and we just try to move towards Jesus. That's what we're about. And you say, well, my background is more of this. I'm really not interested in that. And I don't mean that in a negative way or a condescending way or dismissive way. I'm really concerned with, do you follow Jesus? The call of Christ is not to align yourself with a denomination. If you are, great. But it's not to align yourself with a denomination. It wasn't to align yourself with a specific translation of the Bible. I know there's people who will die on those hills. That is okay. If that's you, this probably is not for you. If you're going to die on the hill of denomination and translation, this probably isn't for you. You say, Jared, do you have a denomination that you're a part of? Not really. It's a non-denominational background as far as the church I'm a part of, but you never hear that come out of my mouth, ever. Do you have a translation that you ascribe to? I like the ESV. I also like the NIV until they lost their mind. There's other translations. New American is good. CSB is good. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Hey, here's what I want you to do. I want you to read the Bible. Okay. So Tribe is going to, if you get nothing out of Tribe, at the very least, maybe you'll learn the discipline of just getting in the Word on a regular basis. And we read one chapter a day. It's not a lot. And I do one chapter a day because I think it's enough to make you kind of exercise that spiritual muscle. without hindering if you're a part of another plan or another study. If you're part of another men's group, man, stay connected to that group. This is a really like a kind of an RV type ministry. That's how I like to see it in my mind, kind of a roving ministry. And it'll make sense as I walk through this. But more importantly, it's a community. Tribe is a community of men all moving the same direction for a 6-month window of time. Do all guys move the same direction during that time? No. Some guys will sign up and we will never see them again. Some guys will sign up and they'll be fired up for a little while and we won't see them again. Listen, that's the nature of humanity. If you've been a part of a church, you know that not everybody shows up every weekend. Not everybody shows up in the next 2 or 3 months. That's just part of the deal. Life happens. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what commitments are there, not there. We just challenge you in the beginning. Would you hold fast to the covenant that you sign? We don't lord it over you, but we will do what we can to try to bring you into this community, keep you connected to the community. We read the same scripture every day. We challenge one another weekly through or bi-weekly, I should say, through Zoom calls. We have weekly challenge videos. We have discussions that we're working through. Every single day there's a post that basically says, I think it says something like, what is your takeaway from today's reading? And we are in month 5 and almost a half of this thing. And every single day, a good number of men, I couldn't tell you exact number, but a good number of men are leaving comments about what they've read, their thoughts and insights. Now, listen, this session's been very, very, very different in the book we've read and in the Bible that we're reading as far as what we're reading in the Bible. We read Psalms and Proverbs. We've never done that. This session's been a lot about the heart, which it was really unique, and I know God knew we needed that, but it's very different than anything we've been a part of as far as our reading. Typically, we'll read like through the Gospels and the epistles, things like that. We'll read through different books of the Old Testament. This next session, we're going to focus on specific men in the Bible, and so we'll be jumping around quite a bit there. So there's just something unique, very unique that happens when men are willing to engage in a community. You can sign up for this stuff. You could sign up for every session we ever offer, but never really engage in it. I think that's unfortunate. But there's something very special and very unique that happens when men are willing to engage in a community like this that begins online and inevitably moves face-to-face friendships. Let me say that, and I'll get into that more later. There are guys who will say, online is just not my thing. It's weird. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like Zoom. I don't like making videos of myself. I'm with you on all those things, and I agree 1,000%. As a matter of fact, I've had conversations with my wife and others in the early stages of Tribe when this thing first started going. I'm not a big online guy myself either. I see online as a way to get the gospel out very quickly and to reach a lot of people and connect with a lot of people. However, I don't enjoy the online experience. But when Tribe began to move from being solely online to face-to-face relationships and friendships, that's a game changer for me. That's a game changer big time. Not only for me. Like, I want you to know this. When you sign up for Tribe, it does not come sit at Jared's feet and listen to what he has to say, because he's going to impart his knowledge and wisdom and discernment upon us. If that's what you sign up for, you will be gravely disappointed. I get as much out of this thing as everyone else does. Now, I'm on the front end, and I'm in the mix as far as the videos and Zoom call topics and communication. Absolutely. But I'm telling you right now, you will connect with some high-caliber human beings. You will connect with some guys that you'd say to yourself, how do we get more guys like that in our church? You know why I say that? Why I say that to you? Because I say it to myself. How do we get more guys like that in our church? So what we find is these friendships, I get to meet a lot of these guys. Whether it's the men's retreat, here at the end of this week, I'm going on a camp out with some guys from Tribe from all over. They're all driving ridiculous distance and stuff to get there. We did it a couple months ago. We were in Kentucky. We hiked the Red River Gorge for, 3-4 days, whatever. Great time. Stayed in the cabin, ate food, whatever. We had a guy, I can't remember the episode, but a guy from California took a spring break and went and visited like 20 different guys in Tribe. Just rented a car, flew into like Missouri somewhere, drove all around, met up with them. Guys have met up for coffee and lunch, whatever. You're in regions, which helps. Every guy gets put in a point man region. So this tribe is going to be a large tribe, but you're in a region of anywhere from 5 to 15 guys. So what we find, depending on your geographic location, guys out west, it's a little more challenging. Guys overseas, definitely challenging, but we're getting more and more guys overseas. So if you're international, yep, it's for you. They're meeting up. And they're meeting up and they're telling us about it. They're like, hey, man, it was so cool to meet up with so-and-so. And, got to take a selfie, of course, or it didn't happen. And, post the picture. And it just strengthens that bond. And not only that, we're starting to see a next generation of guys with their kids who are starting to experience this. And beyond that, we're seeing this with some of the wives who have began to engage in some of the marriage calls. They're on the marriage calls and they say, man, we want more of this. We need more of, like they like what their husbands got and they want more of it. We see their kids like coming to the men's retreat, camping out and talking about that was the highlight of their year. I mean, I'm not making this up. I'm just saying this is what God does when men of God will say, you know what, I need community. I'm willing to do something. I'm willing to sacrifice something, whether it's time, money, effort, energy, whatever, to be a part of it. And twice a year, right now and in the fall, we invite you to be a part of this. And I will tell you this, there's someone listening right now, just believe it, and you're saying, I'll get you in the fall. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you do get us in the fall, sign up for the fall, that's what we hear, you will regret that you didn't do it right now. I promise. I promise. And we try to be very transparent what happens here. I'm going to say it again before we end this podcast. What happens in Tribe is very unique. I have never experienced anything like this. And not only that, guys that are in it will tell you the exact same thing. I will say this too. Tribe is not a study or program. Hey, I'm going to sign up for that Tribe study. It's not a study. Okay? It is. There's a reading plan, but I'm not checking your work. So if you're a guy who pushes back against, don't tell me what to do, I don't. What we do is we lay out the 6-month map. This is what's going to happen. Everybody gets a field guide. Everybody gets a reading plan. You know the chapters we're going to read, when we're going to read them. You know when the Zoom calls are. You know the times. I mean, it's all pretty much laid out. Very few things are changed from the field guide. The two things that will be changed for sure will be your point man call, which I won't even get into point man stuff, right? But that's where you just in your group get to connect in a much, much smaller group through Zoom. And then the marriage calls. Marriage call, all this stuff is an opportunity to engage. You don't have to. If you can't, you don't have to have a guilt complex. You don't have to walk around feeling guilty. Man, I missed the last 10 Zoom calls. That's okay. That's okay. I don't know what's going on in your world. If you missed them and you know that, man, I wish I could have made them, but I couldn't, that is okay. We have guys from a ridiculous amount of time zones. In this coming session, we have a guy in Hawaii. I don't even know what time it is in Hawaii. We have a guy in the UK. So there's quite a spectrum there. So there's what would you say? There's probably almost a 12-hour time zone difference there. Then you have, like, I'm Eastern time zone. We got everything across the U.S. This map behind me has pins on it. It represents men who've signed up for Tribe and their locations. I don't always get it exact, but I get it close. Wherever Google Map kind of gets close there, right? I mean, it's got Hawaii right next to Texas. So it's not 1,000% accurate. So some guys will go, hey, that's not where Richmond, Tennessee is. I'm sorry. I got as close as I could. But nevertheless, we got guys from all over. So there's a high chance you sign up. There might be a guy in your region like, man, I ain't got anybody. I understand that. There are a lot of men in your same position. There are a lot of men in your position. We just don't want to admit it. Tribe is a way that you can admit it without admitting it. Going, I want to get in. It's not a study. It's not a program. It's not something that you have to check a box so you can say I completed it, or I did what was expected of me, or I made my challenge video so you can get off my back. Now, when we don't do that. Now, there will be guys that will reach out to you from time to time and say, hey, Jarrett, man, I'd love to see a challenge video from you this week or whatever. They're just trying to get you in the community, right? They're just trying to bring you back, trying to keep you in the fold. You know, it's easy to drift, man. It's easy to get that 1 degree off. Just keep drifting, and 1 week becomes 2, becomes a month, becomes 6 months. This thing will go really, really fast. I want you to hear this. Tribe is a constant community of men who are engaging in conversation. They're growing in their walk with Christ and having regular discussions about how to be a man of presence, how to add value, and how to help those who depend on us the most. Well, let's go back to what you said in the beginning: constant community. You see, I travel all the time. Remember that 12-hour time zone difference I just referenced? And I could be wrong, but I think it's somewhere near that. It doesn't matter where. Let's say you travel from New York and you land in San Diego. You say, I just flew over 4 time zones and I'm exhausted, and then you're jet lagged or whatever. You wake up at 4 in the morning instead of 7 in the morning. Guess what? There's something going on there. There's constantly something that you can engage in. Now, I tell you that because for some guys, getting to a men's group is nearly impossible. Your schedule just doesn't allow it. So if we said every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, you must get to the church and that's where our study's going to meet, or every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., or once a month at 9 a.m., or what, for some of you guys, that's really hard. I got 3 kids, man. I can't always commit to things. And it's amazing. I'll say, I'm going to do it every Wednesday. What's amazing how many times things will pop up on Wednesdays. With Tribe, again, you know the schedule on the onset. However, even if you can't make the Zoom call, let me tell you, there's a conversation taking place in there. Hey, what was your top takeaway from tonight's call? So you're going to watch a bunch of guys leave comments. Some of them are funny. Some of them are serious. They're quoting who said what. There are times that we record the Zoom calls and we post it only in that group. So you say, well, I can't make it, but man, I really want to hear what you guys said when it came to battling temptation or whatever the thing is. Well, then you can go back and watch it. But that only happens within the Tribe group. Okay, that I will say that it only happens within there. So I will go back to this. As guys, we're busy, man. You feel like you're too busy to make the commitment. I want you to know the good news is we have a strong community of men who are just as busy as you are. Okay, and I don't say that in a derogatory way. I don't say that to minimize what you do. Some of you guys are wearing a lot of hats. You're doing a lot of things. You're working a couple jobs. I know guys are working, a job or two. They're going to school. They have children. They travel. We have a basketball coach who's constantly on the road. We got guys who are military, first responders. We have people with just jobs that move them at the drop of a hat to, you need to be up, you need to go, you need to whatever, okay? Rare is the guy who just has, kind of that 9 to 5, and at night I have absolutely nothing going on. If that is you, even better, because this is a great way that you could fill your time in a good way. However, there's just a lot of guys who are committed to a lot of things, and Tribe being that roving RV type ministry, mindset, it doesn't matter, man. If you're up at 11:30 at night and you just got off work and you're like, man, I want to check in with my Tribe brothers. Guess what? The guy in the Hawaii or the guy in Alaska or the guy wherever, they're primed for the picking. They're like, finally, somebody's up when I'm up. We do a Zoom call, and one of the guys in the UK, I think he's up at like 1:32 in the morning. I don't know. I don't know if I'd get up at 2 in the morning to look at our faces, but there's something there that he's leaning into and engaging in. We're benefiting from it. We had a guy from Belgium. He was up at like 3 in the morning. I'll never forget the time where it was his anniversary. He and his wife were both up on the marriage call at 3 in the morning. And it's just neat to see that, right? And so, listen, there's always something you can engage in. Let me kind of land the plane with this. I'm going to explain the format between right now, as I'm recording this on Monday, May 9th. It's 9:45. By the time this gets up, who knows what time it is. But it will go Monday, May 9th. Next week, you're going to hear from some guys in Tribe. Haven't done that in a while. I think we're long overdue for that, so you'll hear about that. I'm going to explain between right now and November 30th. Number one, registration. You got to secure your spot. You have to secure your spot. I'm going to tell you, if you're thinking about it, you need to do it. If you're thinking about it, the Lord has put it on your heart. We have a large group. And again, we make it small because everybody's in a point man group. I mean, these point man groups have texting going on. They have I met up with the Indiana guys just a week or two ago. Not all of them, but a good number. They have conversations going on. They have their own Zoom calls sometimes. They have their own email, prayer requests. I'll find out things from the point men that we have over Tribe about guys I had no clue what was going on. They're like, well, here's something he shared with me. Here's something you should know about. Or here's something he's battling. So, oh, good. I can pray for that too. Or, okay, that makes more sense, right? And we want guys to know you matter, man. You do matter. We want you to be a part of this. So you got to register. Let's start with that. When you register, you'll get a receipt, obviously, from the Pursuit of Manliness. But number two, you'll get an email with more information on it. This session, we're going to do a book. We're reading along with Brant Hansen's book, The Men We Need. That book has sold out so quickly that even the publisher's having a hard time getting it. I think I have secured a large number. You will get a book. Don't buy the book. I will get you the book. You paid for it. You'll get it. You get a field guide. All that will get in the mail. Eventually, you'll get an email that explain that. When we get closer to the date, and it'll tell you on this, you'll be invited into our Facebook group. That's where a lot of community happens in there. You do not need Facebook to be in Tribe. You don't. We have a number of men, especially in the last couple of sessions. People just got tired of social media. A number of men in the last couple of sessions who said, I'm done with Facebook, and they're still in Tribe. All I would say is you need to stay connected to your point man, and really encourage you to make those Zoom calls. Really encourage you to make as many as you can. And your point man will communicate if there's something extra, like, hey, we got this call that wasn't scheduled, or this marriage call that you have. They'll try to do that. Once we get into that point, late May, there'll be kind of an intro video. There'll be a frequently asked questions in your field guide. There'll be an intro video to get you some more information. It's a little nerve-wracking when you first join something new, right? So intro video, that'll be a way that you start to introduce yourself. Guys will start to get, hey, I didn't know I'm from that place too, and I'm into that same hobby, whatever. And then on Monday mornings, there's a challenge video. Every week it's me talking to you. Here's our challenge for the week. Oftentimes it's something to do with manhood, it's something to do with the book we're reading, or something to do with the Bible portion that we're in that week or that day. And what you do is you hold up your phone, you make the video, tablet. Some people do it live. It's easier to do it that way. And then you post it. Challenge video number 7. And then guys get a chance to comment on it. Pretty simple. Is it awkward? Every time. It's awkward for me every single time. I'm the guy. I'm the tribe guy, right? It's awkward for me. I get it. Most guys, we're not real comfortable with that, okay? So you got challenge videos. We have a daily Bible reading. I'll tell you right now and say, if you only get one thing out of this, be diligent about doing the daily Bible reading. It'll change you. The word will change you. Scripture will change you. The reading, and then every day at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time, because I don't get up that early, but I have it scheduled. There's a thing that says, "What was your takeaway from today's reading?" And there are guys that they get up that early and they start leaving their comments, and there's just conversation going about Scripture. We're not lecturing one another. Again, we're not getting into creeds and confessions. We're talking about Psalm 27. I never read that, or I don't understand why he says it that way. Anybody got any insight on that? Just good conversation, right? We have a prayer room. Every 2 weeks, Facebook only lets us do it 2 weeks at a time. We have a prayer room. Guys can share prayer requests, victories. Hey, here's an update on so-and-so. Here's what's going on. Then we have the Zoom calls. Zoom calls are every other week, Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesdays will be at 8:30 this time. Thursdays will be at 9. That's all p.m. That's all Eastern time. There will be some other calls, like I said, marriage call, appointment calls, and we're looking at even adding, like we've done, like Friday during the day, things of that nature. We may get back to doing that, but for sure you'll see it mapped out on there. Then face-to-face. This is what I'm saying. You can't replicate this. What happens online, these guys are saying, man, I want to meet face-to-face. I want to hang out. I want to have a burger. I want to drink some sweet tea. I want to camp out. We're going to meet up. If you're driving through my state, man, I would love for you to stop. I'd love for you to connect. And that's happening all the time. And what happens to a man, they will say, I felt like I knew that guy forever. Because all the pretense is gone. Because of the safety of distance of online. Because of the things that we've talked to that you're not going to talk to the guys in your church about, or man, maybe you're trying to struggle to figure out how to word it with your wife or your men's group. We're already having those conversations. There's a safety of distance, but by the time I meet you face to face or you meet other guys, we're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about life. We already know. You're a mess, I'm a mess, right, brother? But we're trying to get to Jesus. We're trying to live out that Great Commission. And then, as I said, we have the men's retreat in the fall. No, it is not just for the men in Tribe. Somebody asked me that question. Is it only for Tribe? No, most of the guys that came to the retreat last year were not in Tribe. We probably had 120-some guys in attendance. I think we had 40-some guys from Tribe, so that would be a third of it. What we had from that group is some guys signed up for Tribe because they saw the community, and some guys said, no, I'm good. But no, it's not just for Tribe. Like I said, we got the campouts. We had one in Kentucky. We got one coming up in Missouri. I just want to remind you with this. There's nothing quite like it. And I don't say that arrogantly. I don't say that to knock anything else. There's a lot of great men's ministry out there. There's a lot of great men's community out there. I truly believe what Tribe is about and what it's doing, there's nothing else quite like it. And man, I want you to hear this. I want to personally invite you to be a part of this. I want to personally invite you to be a part of this community because you have something that I believe this community needs. Every session, there have been guys who've spoken up on a challenge video, on a Facebook post, on a Zoom call, maybe in a DM group or a text message group or whatever, and they've shared something that I feel like the Holy Spirit said, oh, that was for you. You needed to hear that. Every man, including yourself, has something to offer this community. Man, I'm going to encourage you, don't withhold it from us. We need it. We need men like yourself to be a part of it. Oh, you're going to meet some high caliber guys. Absolute, no question about it. You're going to find some guys who can laugh at themselves, who can joke, who talk life, but man, they're just trying to follow Jesus. They're trying to be men of God. They're trying to be men of presence. They want to add value. They want to grow. You're going to find those absolutely. I'll end with this. If you're looking for a community like this, secure your spot in our next session of Tribe today. I want to remind you, registration ends for this coming session of Tribe. It's Wednesday, May 25th. Thank you for listening to the Pursuit of Manliness podcast. If you would, make sure to visit iTunes and leave a 5-star review to let others know what you think of this show. When you get a chance, make sure to visit thepursuitofmanliness.com to see what is available in the gear store, find more information out about Tribe, and much more. Thanks for listening, and let's keep pursuing biblical manliness.